Tara here from Recovering Book Hoarder, here to bring you my December wrap-up. So I had a really good reading month. First, I should say it's better than even usual because I tasked myself with taking any books that I had started previously in the year and just went away from for whatever reason, that I either had to finish them or choose to DNF them. So total, I read 13 books this month. 2 of those were 5-star reads, 4 4-star reads, 3 3-star reads, 1 2-star read, and then I ended up DNFing 3 books. I listened to 1 audiobook and then read 12 physical books. Okay, so I don't have all of them to show you because some I've either given away already or the audiobooks I don't have to show, and I haven't figured out yet how to put the picture up in the corner. So I'm just gonna say what they are. You won't see a picture. Some of them I do have the book to show. So okay, the first one I read this month, it was a 5-star read, and it was Her Daughter's Dream by Francine Rivers. It was the second in a duology called Marta's Legacy. And this book, the duology was just amazing. Both books were 5 stars. You actually follow 5 generations of women, so it's a family drama. And it's just wonderful. I mean, the book destroyed me. The whole duology did. Like, I cried, sobbing, cried through the last, I think, probably the last 200 pages of the book, and then cried through like multiples of the other ones. I mean, it was amazing. It's Christian fiction. It's Francine Rivers. So it started out the month on a high. Okay, then I read The Little Black Book of Human Resources Management by Barry Wolf. 3 stars, I should say. I am not a human resources person. However, I have been, along with 2 of my colleagues, placed in the role of acting human resources for a bit. And so we want to familiarize ourselves with HR law. And so I ordered 3 books and we're passing them around. So that was the first that I read of the books, and it was pretty good. It actually read more like a story as opposed to just like, here's the law. So it wasn't bad, but I mean, it's human resources, so like, how interesting can it get? All right, then I read, I have this one to show you, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Joel, and this was one of my book of the month, which was April 2018, the book of the month. And this was a psychological thriller. It's about a girl who she leaves one day and she never comes home, and no one's sure if she ran away, if she was kidnapped, what happened. But she had, 2 loving parents, she had 2 siblings, and everybody, they had to move on with their life. And then one day, Mom meets this guy, and he has a daughter who looks shockingly like her daughter who left and never came back. This was good. I give it 4 stars. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Okay, the next one was 1984 by George Orwell. Here it is. So I'm going back and I'm trying to read the books that I was supposed to have read whenever I was in high school. And this was one of them. I've heard so much about 1984. Yeah, it's like one of the most quoted books of all time. I know it's prophetic in nature. Oh, but guys, it was just, when I told my best friend that I was attempting to read it, her response was, why are you doing that? And she's a very well-read, highly educated person. So I DNF'd it. I think I made it to around, like, page 167, which was like about halfway through. I did like skip ahead and read the end of it just to see, but oh my gosh, it was just torture. And I kind of, I think maybe I would have liked it better if I had listened to it on audio, because I listened to Brave New World by I think it's Albert Huxley, and I really enjoyed that, listening to it. I don't know if I would have enjoyed that one as much if I had read it physically. So, I don't know. I mean, I totally get the prophecy stuff. I see the comparisons from then to now, but it's just torture. So, DNF'd. All right, then so every year I read a different version of the Bible. My goal is always to get through the Bible in 1 year. So, this year I read The Message, right here. And it is Eugene H. Peterson is the one who did the translation. It's the Bible in contemporary language. So when I rate the Bible, I should just say the Bible to me is a 5-star book. Okay, so when I give a rating, it's in regards to the version and the translation, and this one for me was 3 stars. I had heard so many good things about this version, but I don't know if it's because in 2017 I read the King James version, which that was a tough read. But I got used to, as I read more, I got used to the language that was used in there. And I don't know if it's because I went from that to something that was so much more contemporary, but I had a hard time with some of the actual translation and what they did to it. So there was a lot of really good in here also, and I journaled a lot of it, but as far as translations go, to me, it was a 3-star. If anybody's curious, my favorite translation is the New Living Testament NLT version. Okay, next we have, Peter Pan. So, this is, the classic story, J.M. Barrie. Everybody knows what this one's about. I did not love the book, the actual story and how it was told. I enjoy the play, I enjoy the ballet, I enjoy the Disney version. I just didn't love the story. However, I did give it 3 stars because this version is just beautiful. This version has like all of this interactive art in it. Like there's that, and this piece moves here. Let me see if I can see if like this piece goes around like this. There's like this here. This is an insert, and you open it up, and there's their houses. So didn't love the story, but this book, this version is just beautiful. So I'm gonna keep this, even though I didn't love the story, because it's a piece of art. I mean, it's gorgeous. Okay, then, this was another huge disappointment of the month. Okay, so, this book is called The Malta Escape. It's by Chris Kuzneski. I love Chris Kuzneski, okay? He's a local author. He lives in Florida now, but he was from the Pittsburgh area. And I have read his entire Payne and Jones series. This was book 9. All of the other ones in the series, 5-star reads for me. I just absolutely love them. He gets, his books have been reviewed by James Patterson, Nelson DeMille, Vince Flynn, James Collins. James Patterson actually said Chris Kuzneski's writing has the same raw power as the early Stephen King. His stuff was so good, okay? So years went by. He started writing another series called The Hunters, which I did not read any of those. He hadn't written any more Payne and Jones. It had been several years. So he had announced that he had a new one coming out, book 9, The Malta Escape. And so I immediately put on my wish list. So excited. I intended to buy it at some point, but then he announced that his publisher had dropped him, stating that the genre was dead, which this is like a, it's along the lines of, I'm trying to think, think like National Treasure, or Dan Brown, like those, Clive Cussler, those would be all good people to compare him to. So his publisher dropped him, said that the genre was dead, so he decided to self-publish the book. So he put out kind of like a call to arms on his Facebook page and said, hey, if you guys want me to be able to write any more Payne and Jones books, then please make sure that you purchase it like during release week. So I did. I immediately went on, purchased it, so excited. Oh, then I read it, and oof, it was just so tough. It was not like his other books. A lot of like suspension of belief, which I'm okay with that in a lot of cases. I wasn't in this one. I just had a hard time believing a lot of the concepts that he presented, where the story went. It was very kitschy. The banter that I love between the two main characters, Payne and Jones, was, oh, it was just so pedantic. I don't know. It was so tough because I wanted to love it. I expected to love it. And oh, it was just, I mean, it's painful for me to say this about this book. So, it was 2 stars. I usually say reserve 1 stars for things that I just, ooh, there was just no redeeming factors. And I mean, it still had the characters that I loved. But man, oh, it was just, I would say this was my biggest disappointment of 2018. Okay, then I read, Christmas. So I have this little book, real little book. It's called Xana's Gift by Orson Scott Card, A Life in Christmases. I mean, it is only, let's see, 144 pages. I mean, I literally read this in one sitting. It was a really good story. It's about it follows a family, but you're really following the one girl. Her name is Susanna, goes by Xana, and she becomes an artist, a pretty famous artist. But it's about the painting that she did for her brother on the day that he died, before she found out that he had died, and how this painting interweaves into her life and the life of her family. And it was a really good book. And so, yeah, I would recommend this one. This was, I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, then I say tried because I DNF'd it. This is The First Christmases, What the Gospels Really Teach About Jesus' Birth by Marcus J. Borg and John Dominic Crowson. So I got this thinking that it was going to be, I don't know, like a revisiting of the Gospels. I thought it was going to be a pretty positive book. And ultimately I DNF'd it. I just don't find it to be a biblically sound book at all. And in a book like this, I would expect a lot of references. And that was one of the things I did before I decided to DNF it, was just kind of check to see what references they used. And there was just so few. Here, I think that went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was only 8 actual like resources listed in the back of the book, and I have a real problem with that, especially whenever you're trying to present information that's not biblically sound. So ultimately, yeah, DNF'd it, wouldn't recommend it. Okay, then I read Pure, White, and Deadly, How Sugar is Killing Us and What We Can Do to Stop It by John Yudkin. DNF'd this as well. This is one I had started, I think I started in July. I was like forcing myself to read it, and then I finally just decided to put it down. It's not that it's a bad book. I mean, it was originally 1972 was when it was first published, and the problem I had with it was more that the research and the information was very much outdated. A lot of like hey, you're much better off to use artificial sweeteners instead of regular sugar. Like, look, I agree, regular sugar is not good for you, but neither is artificial sweeteners. So I had a hard time with that. And there was some good information in there. I wouldn't say that you shouldn't read it. I mean, I read almost all of it before I DNF'd it, but I would just suggest to find something that's more current if you want to read about the dangers of sugar. Okay, then my audiobook was China Rich Girlfriend, which is the second book in the Crazy Rich Asians series by Kevin Kwan. This was a 4-star read for me. I really like the series. This one, you know, you're continuing to follow the 2 main characters from the first book, plus a couple of other ones. It was good on audio. I'm sure it would have been just as good as a physical book, but yeah, that was good. Then I did the 10 Women of the Bible Bible study by Max Lucado. One by one, they changed the world. And then his daughter, Jenna Lucado Bishop, also helped with this one. This was 4 stars for me. This is the Bible study that I'm doing with my church, the ladies from my church. It's run by my friend Ruth. And when she picked this one, she did not realize quite how in-depth it was. I mean, this is like a very in-depth Bible study. There's 5 lessons each week, and plus like an extra like preface to the lesson. So it was really good. I learned a lot. And I'll just tell you guys the women that it covers, because what I've discovered about the, like, here's 10 women of the Bible, here's 10 men of the Bible, is each author tends to choose different women. And so there were some different ones in here. So we cover Sarah, Rahab, Abigail, Esther, Mary, the mother of Jesus, the Samaritan woman, the Canaanite woman, Mary of Bethany, Mary Magdalene, and Sapphira. And I would say that my favorite lesson of all of this was probably the one on the Samaritan woman. So anyway, this is really good. I would recommend this. You can do that. You don't have to do this as a group. It's set up to be able to do as an individual Bible study also. And then the last one for 2018 and for December is Without a Word by Cheryl Robinson. I'm actually not going to get into what this one is about for personal reasons, but I will say that is a 5-star read. And what I will do is I will leave a Goodreads link in the description below. I'm going to actually go on and do a review for it, because whenever I went on to the Goodreads page, there were 4 people that, you know, like gave it star reviews, but no one's actually written a review. So I'm going to go on and do that, because I believe this is actually a self-published book, and it was an extremely helpful book. This was another one that I picked up to reread, because I had started this like a couple years ago, actually, and read probably 3/4 of the book before I put it down. I can't remember why I put it down and didn't continue reading, but the pieces that I have read up to that point were literally life-changing. So I check out that link below if you want to see a review of it. And I'm not sure when I'll have that up, but I plan to do it pretty soon. So anyway, so those were my reads of December. If you've read any of them, let me know what your thoughts were. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more from me. Notifications if you want to know whenever I post. And other than that, I hope everybody has a great 2019 coming up. Bye, YouTube.